All right, today we're going full-on digital detective. We're opening the case file on one of the most powerful and hidden threats online, botnets. We're going to investigate how they're built, the syndicates that run them, and the weapons they use. So let's get started.
Every investigation starts at the crime scene, and for this one, we start with the loot. 36 million euros. That's how much was stolen in a single, incredibly slick attack that hit banks all across Europe. But you know, the amount of money isn't even the craziest part.
The craziest part is how they did it. This wasn't some loud smash and grab. This money was quietly drained from over 30,000 different bank accounts, and nobody, not the banks, not the victims, had a clue it was happening. So that's our central mystery. How do you pull off a crime this huge in complete and total silence? Our investigation starts with what the criminals called Euro Grabber. And honestly, you have to appreciate the planning. This wasn't just some random piece of malware. It was a carefully orchestrated heist that targeted the European banking system, one person at a time.
So how'd they do it? Well, the plan was deceptively brilliant. First, a piece of malware called a Trojan infects your computer. Simple enough. But then, while you're trying to log into your bank, it hits you with a pop-up. It says you need a special security upgrade for your phone. You install it, thinking you're being safe, but you've just installed a second Trojan. Now they control both your computer and your phone, letting them grab security codes and drain your account without you ever knowing.
Okay, so take a look at this. This is basically the criminal's playbook, laid right out for us to see. Over on the left, you've got the infection spreading, jumping from the web to the PC and then to the phone. And on the right, that's the heist itself. The two pieces of malware work in perfect sync to intercept the bank's messages and reroute your money into a criminal account. It was a perfectly executed digital conspiracy.
Now, a heist this big, this coordinated, you can't pull that off alone. The Euro Grabber job required an army. So, for this next part of our investigation, we need to uncover the invisible weapon that made the whole thing possible.
And that weapon is called a botnet. To put it simply, it's a secret army of hijacked computers. Each infected machine, or zombie, is basically a digital soldier, just sitting there, waiting for orders from its commander, the botmaster. And this army can be ordered to do pretty much anything.
You know, in the early days, these digital armies had a serious weak spot. As you can see here, everything was centralized. All the zombie computers reported back to one main command and control server. For investigators, this was a huge gift. All you had to do was find that one server, take it offline, and you've basically cut the head off the snake. The entire network just crumbles.
But, of course, the criminals got smarter. They evolved. They got rid of that central command post and built these decentralized peer-to-peer networks instead. So now, every single zombie could pass commands along to other zombies. There was no single point of failure to attack anymore. This made their networks incredibly tough and, for law enforcement, an absolute nightmare to take down.
So we have this incredibly sophisticated weapon. But who's building it? Who's using it? Well, that brings us to the next stage of our investigation, the criminal enterprise itself, which you'll see is run like a shocking modern business.
Yeah, you really have to forget the old stereotype of some lone hacker in a dark basement. The world of cybercrime today is professional. It's organized. It's basically a full-blown industry with product developers, marketers, and even customer support.
This pyramid here shows you exactly how the business works. At the very top, you have a small handful of super skilled designers. They're the arms dealers. They build the malicious software. But here's the twist, they don't actually use it themselves. Instead, they rent out their tools to a much larger group of less skilled users at the bottom who then go on to attack millions of victims.
And I'm not just speaking in metaphors here. This is a real price list for a famous piece of crimware called the Black Hole Exploit Kit. You want a 3-month license? That'll be $700. Need to rent their server for a week? $200. It's literally cybercrime on demand.
And here's the crucial point. This whole cybercrime as a service model has changed everything. It's just like the quote says, these tools have lowered the bar for entry. You don't have to be a coding genius anymore. All you need is a credit card and bad intentions to launch a really nasty attack.
Okay, so we've identified the crime, the weapon, and the criminal organization. Now our investigation turns to the hunt. How do the digital detectives of the world actually track down these bot masters and tear down their zombie armies?
Well, investigators really have two main strategies. First is passive analysis. Think of it like a police wiretap. They're just listening in on network traffic, looking for weird patterns or anomalies. The second is active hunting. This is when they go on the offensive, probing systems and setting up digital traps called honey nets to lure the malware in so they can study it.
And just like a physical crime scene, a digital one leaves behind evidence, digital fingerprints. This table shows some of the clues investigators look for. For instance, malicious websites often pop up and then disappear in a flash. And the traffic from bots, it's robotic. It moves in these rigid, machine-like patterns that just scream not human. These are the breadcrumbs that can lead right to the criminals.
But one of the most powerful moves in the investigator's playbook is something called sinkholing. It's a really clever tactic. Researchers basically hijack the botnet's communication channels. They redirect all the traffic from the zombie computers to their own servers. This lets them analyze the threat, and more importantly, it cuts the zombies off from their leader. The army is instantly neutralized.
But this is a constant cat-and-mouse game. As soon as investigators come up with a new tactic, the criminals are already working on a way to get around it. So, to wrap up our investigation, we have to look ahead. What's the next big digital crime wave going to be?
You know, the power of any botnet really boils down to these three pillars. First, its size. How big is the army? Second, its stealth. How well can it hide its command servers? And third, its ability to encrypt its messages and hide in plain sight. The future of cybercrime is all about making these three pillars stronger and stronger. And here's where the next battles are being fought. Criminals are using sites like Twitter to hide their commands because that traffic just blends right in. They're hiding their command servers on the dark web using tools like Tor. And the most alarming frontier? The Internet of Things. Your smart TV, your security cameras, even your refrigerator. They're all potential targets.
And the potential scale of this problem is just staggering. Years ago, people were estimating that by 2020, we'd have 50 to 100 billion devices connected to the internet. We have blown way past those numbers. And every single one of those devices is a potential recruit for a new zombie army.
Which brings us to our final, pretty chilling question. In our rush to connect everything, from our cars to our coffee makers, are we accidentally building the largest, most powerful zombie army the world has ever seen? That's definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.